Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final edition of the Spanish Football Podcast for 2025. I'm Phil Kitromilides. I'm here with Sid Lowe as ever. We're recording nice and early on a Monday morning, so we're both quite bleary-eyed and looking absolutely atrocious, to be honest. If you're watching us on YouTube, because we are putting the
Please
podcast
don't.
up
Yeah,
on
if
YouTube.
you're watching this on YouTube, stop. Just listen to it. Don't look at us.
Possibly better for everyone involved. How you doing, Sydney?
All right, thank you. It's about 9 o'clock, and I've been up for 4.5 hours. So
Wow, trying
trying
to write a column.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you trying to write a column about?
Well, inevitably,
Yes.
and I think
Not Real Oviedo.
No, of course not.
Okay.
Rationally, it had to be Villarreal against Barcelona, the biggest game in Spain at the moment, the best two teams in Spain over the last 6 or 8 weeks. Both of them who had come into this with 6 wins out of 6 for Villarreal, 7 wins out of 7 for Barcelona. Two teams that in theory could win the league, although I think we now realise that only one of them can. So, yeah, that was the one.
So Villarreal Barca. Okay. Well, we'll talk about the game in just a moment. This is what happened on Matchday 17. Friday night saw Valencia and Mallorca play out a 1-1 draw at Mestalla, which doesn't help either side that much. Saturday saw Oviedo draw 0-0 again with Celta Vigo. 7 goals Oviedo have scored in 17 games.
Yeah.
What's the record low for?
You know what? After you asked that on Twitter, I went looking for it, and I couldn't actually find it, which was weird.
I couldn't find it either.
It should be a really obvious stat that should just immediately appear with a bit of Google searching, and it didn't.
Okay, it wasn't just me. I thought I was being
no. I was looking, and there's so many good stats about Oviedo. Do you want them now, or do you want them later?
Later, if at all.
How about here's one, just to get us going, right? Oviedo have had as many red cards as goals this season.
No. Really?
Yeah.
That's 7 red cards?
Yep.
Bloody hell, that's terrible. Somebody did tweet me saying CD Logroñés with 15 goals in the 94-95 season.
Okay.
So,
we should get there, shouldn't we? I mean, come
on. May not get there, given what we've seen. I think current evidence, you're not going to get there. Anyway, back to the results. Levante scored an injury time equaliser to draw 1-1 at home to Real Sociedad. Osasuna scored some nice goals, 3 of them in the last 20 minutes at home to Alaves. Ante Budimir with the first. Absolutely a brilliant strike from the Croatian, who scored a fantastic penalty as well. Raul Garcia putting the polish on the result. Big 3-0 win for Osasuna. And Real Madrid beat Sevilla 2-0. More on that in a second, because it was an important win, but another poor performance. And then on Sunday, Atletico Madrid won away from home, again, beating Girona 3-0 at Montilivi. Koke scoring an absolute thunderbolt, a nice deflected goal from Conor Gallagher, and Antoine Griezmann scoring another lovely goal to round things off. Barcelona winning 2-0 at Villarreal in that big game of the weekend. Rya losing 4-0 at Elche, Getafe losing 4-0 at Betis, and Monday Night Football is Athletic Club against Espanyol. I mean, I was laughing at you, Sid, with Oviedo not scoring. Rya not much better. 13 goals all season in 17 matches is pretty pathetic. Anyway, enough of our respective teams' travails. A big thank you to everyone who supported TSFP by joining us as a patron in 2025. We really appreciate it. You keep the podcast going, so thanks for that support. And there's lots more to come in 2026. Patrons get the Monday and Friday podcasts without any adverts, plus you get a weekly Q&A pod and a bonus podcast, and there's the newsletter and the TSFP diary and the Discord. And you can join us from just €4.75 a month, or it's even cheaper if you get an annual membership. That's all at patreon.com/TSFP. So we start off with that big game of the weekend, the headline fixture from the final round of games of the year, Villarreal against Barcelona. Villarreal had actually dropped to 4th by the time this game kicked off. Barcelona were still leaders. They were only a point behind Real Madrid, ahead of Real Madrid rather. So there was a bit of pressure coming into this game for Barcelona. No Pedri as well. So potentially a difficult place to go. In practice, it hasn't been a difficult place to go. They haven't lost there since 2007. This fixture, Sid, we were building it up. I was on commentary for this game. We were particularly saying this guarantees goals, guarantees entertainment. Last 4 games, it's averaged over 6 goals a game. It's been absolutely extraordinary. And it wasn't that. It wasn't a particularly brilliant game in terms of a spectacle, but it was a pretty solid job done by Barcelona. And when we say a solid job done by Barcelona, with the caveat being that Joan Garcia is always going to have a bit of work to do.
Yes, and he had a lot of work to do in this, and I think there is a feeling off the back of this game that I mean, I know this happened earlier in the season as well, but now very clearly that Barcelona have a real goalkeeper, that they have, if you like, their own Courtois, someone who will save them when they really, really need it. He made one absolutely astonishing save, which admittedly was offside anyway, although I must admit, I think had Villarreal scored, they would have gone back and checked it, and it's very, very close. So I'm not 100% sure it really is offside. So maybe that is an amazing save. I felt that this was an interesting game. I thought it was a 38-minute game, and it ended with a red card. And I thought for those 38 minutes, Villarreal were comfortably the better side. I thought Villarreal created lots and lots of chances. They made it really hard for Barcelona to find a way out from the back. It was going something. I think that they weren't a goal up, let alone maybe even 2 goals up by half time. In the one real run that Barcelona had, the first time they get a penalty, they score, then Rafinha hits the bar, but then Villarreal come back at them again and have more chances. There's a couple for Buchanan, there's one for Ayose, and there's the header wide at the far post. I think it's a header, is it? Or is it a volley? I can't remember now. From Nicolas Pepe right at the very start. And they just kept on coming at Barcelona. But then they concede the goal. They go down to 10 men. And I'm baffled, by the way, by how much controversy has been created around what, for me, is one of the clearest red cards I've seen for a very, very long time. In terms of a straight red. I mean, obviously, you see others that are really clear. But, this is the definition of the kind of challenge that should be given a red card. I quite liked Marcelino's response to this post-game. He was talking to whichever TV it was that showed the game, DAZN, I think it was. And he was saying, well, it's more orange than red for me. Now, if a manager is saying it's orange, you're already admitting that it's a bit more than the yellow. You're already admitting that, it could be red. And then they show him a replay of it from a different angle. And he kind of goes, oh, yeah, from that angle. It's like, yep. Yes. And I thought Villarreal were really, really good. Bear in mind that Villarreal had, I think it was 9 players missing. I thought they did what they do really well, which is to transition very, very fast. But I also thought they took a step forward and played more front-footed than normal to try and take the ball off Barcelona and higher up the pitch. They broke into space, as we would imagine with Barcelona, I thought, regularly. And I thought they were really, really unfortunate not to be in the lead or at least level at halftime. But of course, once they've gone down to 10 men, I would agree with you. I think from that point on, I thought Barcelona produced a really solid performance. But I'd be interested to see what it would have been like against 11.
Villarreal, who coming into this game actually had the highest shot conversion rate in the league. So they've been very, very effective in terms of taking their chances. I think it was 15% of their shots ending in goals. Ayose Perez had been he'd scored 2 goals from 2 shots on target. And our friend Buchanan had 5 goals from an expected goals of 0.9. So he'd been wildly overachieving. This is a team that had been good in front of goal. They had been clinical, they had been efficient, and they failed to do that against Barcelona.
Yeah, I'm really reluctant, in part because of those statistics, in part because of the basic eye test of watching the game, in which, there's the one chance that really sums it up for me is Buchanan's clean through. And he's one-on-one with Joan Garcia. Joan Garcia makes the save. It rebounds back off Garcia, hits Buchanan, goes beyond Garcia. You think it's going to rebound into net, and it goes wide. And you just think this is one of those days where it's just not going to happen for you. And there's that as an image. There's the image of Marcelino sprinting up the touchline, celebrating a goal that was then ruled out for offside, an own goal from Jules Koundé, as it turns out, which is maybe kind of eloquent as well, that the one they did get in the net was put in the net for them by Jules Koundé. And so I'm reluctant to go down this very simplistic route, but can I go back and say something that I've said a few times about Villarreal this season, which is that there feels like there's something logical about their results. Now, this game maybe wasn't logical, but they beat everyone they should beat, and they don't beat everyone they don't beat.
In the league.
Yes, in the league. Now, the Europe is a weird one, and the Cup was a weird result. Yeah. But they've lost 3 times this season: Madrid, Atletico, and Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I know that's oversimplistic, but I think there's something in it.
Yeah, there is. What about Barcelona? Anything to take away from this performance?
Yeah, I think 3 things, or 3 players. 3 players, I would say, rather than 3 things. And obviously the absence of Pedri plays a part, maybe in the fact that this wasn't as fluid a performance as it sometimes is. But I thought it was a good, strong performance. So the 3 players for me are obviously Joan Garcia. who we've already mentioned. Obviously, Rafinha, who makes the run and scores the penalty that gives them the lead and gives them all of those things we've talked about over the last few weeks: the character, the competitiveness, the edge. And the other one is Lamine Yamal. Now, I know talking about Lamine Yamal is not exactly earth-shattering, and I'm not giving you anything really new. But here's something for you yesterday that really struck me. And it was the involvement. How often he was in the game. Not the great things he did, because there was a handful of really good things he did. And after he'd been taken off injured, he came back on and immediately went past 3 players, as if to say, you want some? It really was like that. It was like, all right, you want some, do you? Then he scored a really nice goal in a penalty area scramble. It comes to him, rolls under his foot, and he does a little toe poke through the legs of a defender. I'm not sure how deliberate through the legs is, but it's him finding a way through in a tight space. But for me, it's the volume of his involvement, how often he wanted the ball, how determined he was to make things happen. I thought this was a really, really good performance from him in terms of taking on, if you like, responsibility for leading Barcelona.
7 goals and 8 assists this season in La Liga. He got 9 goals and 15 assists last season, so he's well on course to better those numbers.
And that's despite, of course, having had the what were we calling it, the groin problem, having to manage that. And I know we've been, I know we've been a bit doubtful about some of the management of that and some of the kind of the fight with the federation over it. But he's clearly in a much better place physically now than he was 5 weeks ago. I think he is getting better. I thought that his decision-making yesterday was really good. There's a couple of times when he gave the ball away trying to play a pass that he maybe didn't need to, but not very many. And I think, again, look, it's stating the bleeding obvious, but he's a really, really good player. But for me, it's that responsibility, it's that leadership that's really interesting.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, I have to say, not often that I sort of disagree with you or don't concur with you, but he didn't really stand out for me in that game, and I was much more drawn to Rafinha.
I'm always drawn to Rafinha, but I think
his contribution.
I would love to know that. I actually haven't got the stats in front of me, and maybe before tomorrow's Q&A we can find them. I'd like to know the stats on touches, because it felt to me like he wanted the ball a lot and he was involved a lot. I'd be very interested to know what the ranking of touches was from yesterday's game.
Ranking of touches, I'm not sure. I can tell you that Lamine Yamal, he had the most dribbles in the match, created the most chances, won the most duels, and touches 129.
I mean, that seems like a lot, doesn't it?
I'm going to guess that's right up there. Yes,
that feels like
yes, but But I was going to say I felt like he overcooked things quite a few times. Like he held onto the ball too long. He tried to do too much. He kind of went into sort of blind alleys when he was taking on an extra man when he didn't really need to. The outside of the boot ball wasn't working.
That was the one. That was so. When I said a minute ago, there were a couple of times when he gave it away, trying too much. Particularly that outside the boot ball. He tried that a couple of times and he didn't need to. But I thought there was a real kind of, all right, let's have these guys, and I thought that even while it broke down on occasions, I was really, as I say, I was really struck by his sort of, I don't know if it was a sort of a revenge mission after the challenge or what, but there of his sort of determination to how do I put this in English? I was going to say to mark the game. That's not really English, is it?
To leave his authority.
To leave his mark on the game. Yeah, to leave his mark on the game.
I thought Frankie de Jong was good in this game. Really sort of kept things ticking over, particularly in that second half. It was basically just sort of give the ball to Frankie and make sure that he doesn't lose it. And he didn't. 96% pass completion rate. And first time he was in the starting 11 for 5 games as well.
And that's very, very interesting in itself.
Yeah. He's lost his place to Eric Garcia.
He has.
Yeah.
Yes, he has.
Didn't see coming. But there we go. Barcelona are 4 points clear at the top of the table at Christmas after that important win against Villarreal. They're 4 points clear of a Real Madrid side who beat Sevilla 2-0 at the Bernabeu on Saturday night. I did like the first line in the Marca match report, Sid. Real Madrid win again and Xabi loses again. Yeah. Because this performance from Real Madrid continued the doubts. It did not alleviate any of the suspicion around whether or not Xabi Alonso is going to continue, about whether or not he is able to get any kind of reaction from his players. You and I mean, we've spoken about this with Al as well. They were awful, Sid. There was awful really performers. I don't know if they're actually getting worse. This was as bad as it was against Celta, easily as bad. It's just Celta have a lot more firepower in the final third. They've got better attacking players than Sevilla. Sevilla should have scored 3 or 4 goals in this game. It was It was awful. And it was just the ease with which Sevilla were able to create these chances, repeatedly creating very simple, very easy chances.
That's the thing for me, is it didn't take much, or it didn't feel like it was taking much for Sevilla to pick their way through them. And I thought what we saw, is this a bit cruel to say this, but, well, I'm going to say it. I thought we saw an absolutely classic Isaac Romero performance.
Yeah.
Really busy, making really good runs, very, very generous in his efforts. You know, actually, his touch is not bad, brings the ball down well, but can't finish. And it's really frustrating.
There seems to be an increasing number of strikers, particularly in Spain, who are really good at everything else apart from scoring.
Apart from putting the ball in the net. Yeah.
Manipulate the sphere in between the rectangle. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that was really striking. I mean, as you say, we were talking about this off air, and at times you sort of, and I include myself in this, right? Well, I absolutely include myself in this. You sort of turn up to the Bernabeu and think, oh, they'll be all right. They've got good players, you know, they'll get it right at some point. And then you watch them play and you think, are we underestimating just kind of how bad they are? Now, bad is a relative term here, right? Because they're still second in the league, right? They still have brilliant players. They've now won 3 games in a row. But you know, if we're taking the context of trying to analyze them, not just reading out the results, if we're trying to analyze and talk about how they're playing, not just saying, oh, there's 3 wins, that's okay. Those 3 games have all been awful.
Yeah. I mean, they were good for the first 15 minutes at Alaves.
Yes, I would agree with that, but it wasn't very long. Exactly.
Yeah.
The cup game, I suppose you could say they were good for the first half, and really and truly, it nearly slipped away from them because they thought they'd won it.
Come on, yeah. I mean,
but it's a cup game, and it's at Talavera, right? And so, this game it's exactly that. It's how easily Sevilla found a way through them. It was. You know, it was watching them play kind of relatively simple balls through the channel and outrunning Real Madrid in space, being alert in a way that Real Madrid weren't. Madrid not getting to the ball first. Very, very simple things that sound cliched when I say them. And I almost can't believe I'm sitting here and running the risk of talking about things like, well, Real Madrid don't want it enough, or Real Madrid aren't enchufado, or Real Madrid aren't getting to the ball quickly, or Real Madrid aren't quick enough, or Real Madrid don't look fit enough. But all those things are true. You watch them and you think, and I think actually what it says is something about structure as much as anything else. You know, because there isn't a structure, there isn't a natural mechanism through which things work. I thought on this occasion, even Mbappe, I didn't like in this performance.
No.
Now I know that's gonna. I'm glad you've agreed. Right, good. Okay, so I now feel like on some more steady ground saying this, because you know it feels like he's the one that made things happen. He's the one that had the shots. He's the one that when things happened, it tended to be him involved. But I felt it was. Do you know one of the things about Mbappe is I think he's smooth. Right, and
he wasn't on Saturday.
Exactly.
He snatched at everything.
And
he had this silly record on his mind. I'm sorry.
I think he did. I agree with you.
I'm not having this record. Okay, he scored 59 goals in a calendar year. No one's ever done that apart from Cristiano for Real Madrid. So what? I mean, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it might have some significance for him. I think as a little detail, it's nice, but it's not a thing really. Now, obviously,
it's been made into a huge thing.
Exactly.
That's my problem with it.
Exactly.
As a little side note, you know, we could mention it. Oh, and by the way, but it was built up into such a big thing, and obviously, it was a big thing for him. And you could tell. I think you know he was snatching at chances that usually he has smoothly dispatched this season.
Exactly. And for me, it felt like the whole performance was forced. And it sort of felt like everyone else got dragged into it as well. At the risk of being a smart ass, I'm going to say even the referee who gave him the second penalty, which is laughable, and you know VAR then took it away. But it kind of felt like everyone was waiting for Mbappe to score, and like that was what we were there for. And it was strange because it felt forced, and I didn't think his performance was a good one. And that said, he's still the most dangerous player on the pitch. With Rodrigo, I thought Rodrigo had an all right game in an otherwise very poor performance.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of sort of rays of light for Real Madrid, Rodrigo's
slight rebirth.
Slight rebirth. There we go. Let's have that. Slight rebirth, sort of getting back to nearly what he has shown in the past. Having gone almost an entire calendar year without scoring. In the league, he produced a really nice assist for the first goal from Jude Bellingham and won the penalty for the second. So
cracking header from Bellingham, to be fair.
Really I was going to say maybe a bit of Bellingham as well. bit of rebeldia from Bellingham in the first half, maybe.
I would agree with that,
But yeah, overall, it was sort of shockingly poor, Sid. But we think that Xabi Alonso will go to the Spanish Super Cup, and that is the moment of truth.
Well, I say we think so, and I would agree with that. But I think that we have to remember that one of the things that happens at Real Madrid is that for all that there are various strands of opinion, for all that there are people offering their opinion and putting a little bit of pressure on in one direction or another, in the end, it's a presidential club. And so if tomorrow morning Florentino Perez wakes up and thinks, sod this, then it's tomorrow morning to sod this, And so, and there was already a degree of trying to kind of keep him calm after the Celta game. Like, let's not do this now. Let's not leap. Let's not fall into this trap just yet. But I'm not ruling it out. Ruling out it happening before the Super Cup. I'm also not ruling out, by the way, them getting to the Super Cup, somehow playing well, winning it, and then we kind of all forget about this for a bit.
Yeah, I mean that is something that could, in theory, happen. If I know that is not the conclusion that I would take after seeing this performance on Saturday.
No, I completely agree with you. But it's again, we go back to that same thing of maybe being easily drawn into this trap. They've got good players, or some good players. Mm-hmm. For me, they haven't actually got as many as we think. I think that's part of it.
What about Sevilla and what we saw from them?
Well, I mean, what we saw was movement. What we saw was an understanding of how to play this game, which I think we saw when they beat Barcelona as well. A very clear understanding of how to play this game, how to approach it, how to structure it, where to make things happen. And it was different in this game than it was in the Barcelona game in terms of the way they did it. I thought we saw willingness and organisation. I still think we see some pretty major flaws, though.
They are by far and away, Sid, the team with most yellow cards in the division.
Right.
By absolute miles. 55 yellow cards they've got this season. Rya are second with 44. That's 11 yellow cards more than the second team. Yeah. I mean, it is. They're aggressive, and sometimes they.
And the Marcao challenge that he got sent off for. I mean, he was complaining about it. I think actually he was complaining about a different decision earlier as a kind of way of, well, what about that one? Because the second yellow is there's absolutely no.
I think the first yellow could have been a red.
Yes.
I really do. I thought it was going to get sent off for that first one, but yes.
Yeah, because his studs are up. He's going in straight and with the studs up. It's probably as bad as the one that gets Vega sent off against Barcelona.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to get straight red. And
agree with you.
The way that he complained to the referee afterwards, he's going to get suspended for 4 or 5 matches. Yes. His complaints to the referee, sort of staring him down, going face to face with him, and then calling him something objectionable in Portuguese. So he's going to be in trouble. Is old Marcao. All right, let's talk about Atletico Madrid and their victory at Girona. We've spoken about Atletico Madrid's inability to win away from home, and that has been something that has cost them. But this was their third win on the road, and a really good one as well. Solid against Girona. However, maybe the standout moment, the most important moment, was not Coque's 50th goal for Atletico Madrid. It was an absolute thunderbolt. But the save from Jan Oblak, from Axel Witsel, to make it, to deny Girona an equaliser, save of the weekend, maybe save of the year, maybe save of the season. It's an extraordinary stop. And then from there, Atletico Madrid went on and won pretty comfortably.
Yeah, and the save, it's not just that he reaches the ball. In fact, it's not even that he reaches the ball. It's that somehow he manages to push his hand against the ball. Like push it forwards. He has the strength of his wrist or his forearm to pull that ball out. It's a real kind of clawing thing, it's hugely impressive. Can I go and say the old-fashioned thing that I keep saying?
I mean, yes.
Yeah, your 3 best players are the 3 oldest players: Coque, Oblak, and Griezmann. Classic Atletico.
Ah, yes, you have been saying this for a while.
I've been banging on about this for a while, and I'm just keeping on going because, but it was. I mean, I thought the goal from Griezmann was lovely. Really, really nicely taken. Coque is really worth talking about, actually.
Go on,
because at the start of the season, this was the season in which he wasn't going to play. And had it not been because of the injury to Johnny Cardoso, it is the season he wasn't going to play. And basically, since then, he's played everything. It was going to be Cardoso with Barrios and possibly even Gallagher ahead of Koke as the player in the rotation through the middle of midfield. And now Koke is completely without question in that midfield. I think he's been brilliant. He looks fit. He looks slimmer than before, very much slimmer.
Slimmer than ever.
Really, really noticed. I mean, actually quite thin, I would say.
Yeah.
And he's playing fantastic well, and not because of the goal, which is brilliant, and not even because it's the fact that it's 2 weeks in a row scoring, but because of the fact that he holds that midfield together. Now, I still have doubts about that at European level, at Champions League level, but domestically, I think he's played really, really well.
708th game for Atletico Madrid, Koke. He's
quite a lot, isn't it?
He's going to rack up a few more as well. He is. I mean, he's only 33, so there's still at least a couple more seasons.
He's never been quick, has he? He's never been a player that you look at and think, "There's an athlete."
Antoine Griezmann is showing us that he's still got it, Sid. Just reminding us, just when we were questioning him, and you weren't. You were still saying he's their best player. I was going, no, he's not, and he hadn't been really this season.
No.
But the last couple of weeks, he's shown with a delicious goal last week and this one as well, that he's still got it. He's still good for.
I just think he's
25 minutes off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's technically better than others. I think the biggest thing for me with Griezmann has always been that he's a really generous player. For a forward, I think he's one of the hardest working forwards I've seen. Not necessarily in terms of the hard work to create space for himself. There are lots of forwards work hard to bring the ball down, to get themselves into the area, to go up against central defenders and so on. Griezmann does work all over the pitch.
Yes.
Come back and defend. He does it everywhere. And I think there is a kind of admirable lack of ego about it. And there's no doubt there's an ego there, but I think it's expressed in a different way. But I think it's the intelligence as well with which he plays. I just think he's a really good footballer. Not just a forward. I think he's a really good footballer.
I remember being on a different podcast, one for an Andean audience, and someone suggesting that Antoine Griezmann was a luxury player similar to Dimitar Berbatov.
Oh, I do remember this, and it was just very funny. And I admired you enormously for just not having it, for absolutely not having it. And
tell me you've never seen Antoine Griezmann play without telling me.
Yeah, exactly that. Your kickback on that was superb. I've got a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, I think that got back to Griezmann, didn't it?
Yeah, and he tweeted it, quote tweeted it, saying they do not know what they are talking about, or something like that.
apart from the handsome Hellenic man, none of them have a clue.
Yeah. Anyway, good times. I mean, Al has put the 2 4-0s in this running order. I really don't want to talk about Rayo's 4-0 defeat at Elche, but
can I just say one thing about Elche? Which goal is it? I think it's is it the third goal? It's absolutely glorious.
Yeah, it's really well worked. Really well worked. It's a goal that Rayo could only dream of scoring.
Yeah.
Just the calmness in front of goal, the one-touch movement, and then the finishing. Yeah,
really lovely goal.
It's very, very good. The first goal was brilliant from Hector Fort as well.
He very good.
And then he injured himself.
Yes, in the celebration, although I'm not sure if it was in the celebration so much as he's falling after the shot. But anyway, he does something to his arm, doesn't he?
Hector Fort, of course, on loan from Barcelona, who didn't start the season playing for Elche. Alvaro Nunez was playing at right back, but he seems to have moved Nunez into midfield, and there's a spot for old Hector Fort, and he has been playing.
He's also moved Hector Fort's position a couple of times, had him a little bit further up the pitch. There was a game that I commentated on a couple of weeks ago. Was it the Mallorca game or the one? No, I think it was the one before that. I can't remember who they played now.
Right.
But we were looking at the team sheet before the game, going, "Hang on, where are all these pieces going?" Yes. And Hector Fort's the right winger. I think there's no way Hector Fort's the right winger. So, he is. He really is.
He seems to do that quite a lot. The manager with Elche, he sort of moves people way out of position.
He did one of those kind of managers interviews sort of 45 minutes before kickoff, and it was one of those 2 games that I've done recently, and he was asked about the formation, and there was this kind of very mischievous look in his face, and he sort of laughed, and he said, "Oh, you'll find out soon enough." I thought, you're enjoying this, you quite like playing to it. And did you see the comment he made yesterday?
No.
So Edis Rabbit in the press conference turns the question back on the journalist and says, "So I want to ask you something. Is this the best Elche you've ever seen?"
Wow.
Yeah. It was like, "We're making history. Everyone loves this. We're all excited." And I was thinking, Eden, mate, that's the kind of thing that tends to be said before a fall. Maybe row back a little bit. Yeah.
Don't say that. What are you on about?
I mean, he's not wrong. Well, I don't know about.
Well, he probably is wrong. He's probably
Yeah,
not the best Elche in history.
I was going to say, I don't know about in the whole of history, but what I mean is he's not wrong that they're in a wonderful moment and that the fans are really enjoying it. And what they've done is, in this last year, which of course includes promotion and playing this way and going into the first division and continuing to play this way and taking the game to other people and so on. But yeah, you're kind of setting yourself up for a fall a little bit when you say things like that.
I mean, you're 9th, which is great.
Yeah.
But
it's not, the greatest Elche ever. I don't know off the top of my head what Elche's highest ever finish is. I'm guessing it's something like 6th or 7th.
Rya, who had 18 shots in this game, 8 on target, didn't score. Will maybe never score again. God, we need a striker. Please go and buy a striker, please.
But you've got lovable lump Alemão. What more could you want?
Honestly.
Do you know what? That is the difference between you and us.
And he's not playing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference between you and us. You were talking about earlier the Oviedo's record and Rya's isn't much better. The difference for me is that you have a significantly higher volume of attacks and chances and shots. Oviedo don't make very much,
which we miss. Yeah,
which you miss. Yes. But what I mean is, the end result is the same, but the process of getting there, I think, is
that's almost more frustrating.
Maybe it is.
Having all these chances and not taking any of them.
Yeah.
Amazing production from Our, who has looked up that Elche's best ever finish was 5th in 1964. So there you go.
Okay. So this isn't the best team ever then?
Not yet, it's not. Not yet.
They're not going to finish. They're not going to finish as high as 5th, are they, this year?
No. Right. In the Segunda, Racing drew 1-1 at Huesca, but they're still top on 37 points. Las Palmas are second on 34 points. They beat Cultural Leonesa 4-0. Depor lost 1-0 at Andorra, and Almeria lost 2-1 at Malaga, so they both still have 32 points. That's it for 2025. Another year of podcasting, Sid, of talking relentlessly about Spanish football is over. Hopefully we'll have many, many more together, Sid, talking about what happens in La Liga and trying to find out when Elche's best ever finish was and magical moments like that. Thanks to everyone who's listened. Thanks to everyone who's supported. There will be more content over at Patreon this week, so make sure you come and join us then, patreon.com/TSFP. But until next year, amigos, we'll be back. The first game of the year is Rayo against Getafe on the 2nd of January. So we'll be back on Friday, the 2nd of January, to look ahead to that. So make sure you join us then. Thanks for the support. Merry Christmas, and we'll speak to you soon. Adios.
Cheerio.